Let's now shift our attention to what is happening in the United States of America. There is a pretty massive military parade that is unfolding to celebrate the 250th birthday of the American Army. So it is the birthday of the American Army, and it's happening against the backdrop of a No Kings protest. What's also interesting is that the American President Donald Trump kicked off the military parade, and it was also his 79th birthday. So the American president is 79 years young, and he was looking pleased as punch as he stood up and waved and also saluted the soldiers who were walking past in this march past.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 250 years. With independence won, our nation's westward expansion began. The Army moved in step, guarding settlers as native scouts lit the way. Immigrants shaping the Army's identity and function across the force. Soldiers were issued 2 coats. One, a short sack coat for work and battle, with brass buttons and colors.
Donald Trump, of course, walked on a huge stage in front of the White House with First Lady Melania Trump before a 21-gun salute rang out and the American national anthem played. Now, all this, of course, is unfolding in the United States at the moment. The opponents of President Trump's agenda are rallying in hundreds of cities nationwide for a No Kings protest, following several days of nationwide demonstrations against federal immigration raids, including in places such as Los Angeles, where Donald Trump has deployed the National Guard and the U.S. Marines. The protests are timed to counter-program a massive military parade, which coincides with Donald Trump's 79th birthday in Washington, D.C. The event is expected to include about 6,600 soldiers, 50 helicopters and 60-ton M1 Abrams tanks, as well as possibly 200,000 attendees and heightened security to match that.
We are in Love Park in Philadelphia, and today we are just advocating. We are marching. No king in the United States, no king in our cities, no king in our states. We're advocating for the rights of our immigrant families.
It is the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army, the world's most powerful army at the moment. And also simultaneously there are these protests, the No Kings protests that are underway against Donald Trump. And our correspondent Susan Tehrani is joining us over the phone line with more details. Susan, talk to us a bit about the significance of this military parade that is taking place.
Yeah, Mohammed, as you mentioned, significant indeed, because these parades were very commonplace before the Cold War, and sort of after the Cold War and Vietnam, they weren't so popular. And President Trump is trying to reinstate that sort of spirit of patriotism to the United States and really celebrate the military with this parade. It was interesting that John Fetterman, who's a Democrat from Pennsylvania, was saying that, regardless of your politics, ultimately, these are the sons and daughters of everyday Americans who go to the military and fight for the country. So for one day, you can put your differences aside and come together and celebrate these individuals who put their lives on the line, America's heroes, if you may. But nonetheless, there are those that, not surprisingly, are demonstrating against this parade. They call it a No Kings parade, demonstrations across the United States in around 2,000 cities countrywide, saying that they believe that Donald Trump is acting like a king. But let me give you some scale and some numbers, which may be interesting for our viewers. Approximately 6,600 soldiers are participating, about 150 military vehicles, including N-1 Abrams. 50 aircrafts have been featured. You see troops and equipment, of course, marching from Lincoln Memorial along Constitution Avenue to the National Mall. And then you also obviously see that the weather is somewhat cooperating now, but they're worried about thunderstorms coming, so the parade started about half hour earlier. 60% of Americans view the parade as being a national pride. And many Americans, however, are concerned about how much money was spent on the parade. Millions was spent not only, to put the parade together, but to fix D.C. streets. I think it's interesting. They're watching it, but just very quickly, I think what everyone wants to see is President Trump's speech at the end of this parade, which comes at a very critical time in world events.
Absolutely, indeed, and a very impressive parade it is, which President Trump, of course, is watching, sitting right there. Thank you very much indeed, Susan Tehrani, for joining us and getting us all those details.
Of the Civil War, the first team forged its reputation on the front lines of history. They stormed